right, sounds good. All right,
All
who
right,
wants
Zach,
to take?
let's hear it, man. You're fucking just roll right in.
Just roll right in. Hey guys, what's going on? We're talking about the great cases of the missing 411 and all the stuff that goes on in between. You know,
If it matters, we're the Barkin boys.
Yeah, the Barkin boys are talking about the missing 411 and getting lost in forests and everywhere in between.
Mysterious disappearances.
Yeah. This all. I'm gonna bring us back to let's just coin the term where the term 411 came into existence.
Right.
We got our homie named David Pilates. Yep, sure. That's close enough to his name.
Jesus.
Kind of weird, but it's fine. David Pilates was a former police officer, investigator. He was a beat cop for a bit. He did some stuff. Was a investigator for a little bit, and after leaving the police department, he decided that he was going to get involved in in conspiracy about people disappearing from national parks or forested areas, but it was more have to do with national parks and stuff, because for some reason people love to just go missing in national parks. I don't know what it is. Y'all wander in there, y'all get lost.
It defines who they are.
The bear.
Yeah, the bears.
Maybe.
But okay, so the only
Perhaps
thing, the biggest thing against David Pilates and why he's not credited as a solid source is because some of his stuff is like, hey, Bigfoot is capturing all these people.
Yeah, that's what I got while we were doing a little research too. It's just like, he's a very eccentric kind of fella.
He is definitely. Well, I mean, he was part of SWAT. He was part of the San Jose Police Department, and part of a street crimes unit, and did a little bit of detective work. But he was also charged with a misdemeanor count of falsely soliciting for charity. So, just real quick, I'm going to give a brief on this one. This guy was literally just being like,
That's
hey...
only a misdemeanor? We could do that. Hey, guys, in the link in the description...
So what this guy was doing was like, hey, we're starting a charity, and he was going out to celebrities and getting autographs from celebrities and then selling them.
That's sick.
That's
so cool.
Oh, yeah. But after leaving the police force, Pilates wrote books on the topic of Bigfoot, as well as the disappearance of people in national parks and elsewhere, starting with the term, the first book was called The Missing 411, which is...
411 in this case, of course, meaning like, it used to be like the number you would call for information, so it's like missing info.
Yeah, so, basically missing people and stuff. So, he coined the term over it. Of course, his first thing to do is to blame Bigfoot on a lot of reasons why people are, going missing and stuff like that. But his big thing that he kind of sparked was the whole, hey, people are going missing in national parks and close to around it. And, that's just kind of where he started off. That's how the Missing 411 has kind of started. And there's some really interesting cases that we have to go off of here.
I got a couple. So both of mine take place basically right down the road from each other. Really? In Crater Lake National Park, Oregon. Yep. Now, I would like to also mention they were that'd be 30, 40 years apart. So it's not like the same gang of fellas was about, hunting after some people to kidnap, abduct, or otherwise murder. But we'll start with number one, this guy, Charles McCullough. So in 1975, this guy, he was a photographer. He's 19 years old. And this dude did, the reason he was at these national parks sounds like a really good idea to me. And I think it would just be cool as shit, right? He wanted to be a photographer, but, his goal was just to go around the country to these national parks and get good photos of the scenery. He wanted to hit every national park. And this is from what I read.
Oh, cool. I dig that.
And, dude, that just sounds so cool, right?
No, why can't we do that?
Money.
True and real. Never mind.
And so anyways, he was doing this really cool thing. And so he's staying with a friend in Eugene, Iowa. And that's the specific town this next case takes place in as well. But Eugene, Iowa, and he left on the 29th of January in 1975. And he said he's going to be back on the 31st. He's going to this Crater Lake National Park. In fact, he was not back by the 1st of February, so his buddy was like, well, this is wrong, and reported him missing. Allegedly, he was pretty good about intricacies and timelines, and he had never just really up and stayed an extra couple of days, especially without letting somebody know first, because you're in the wilderness, it's the 70s, you don't have a cell phone, you gotta have a plan, right?
Right. Yeah, I know.
And he just wasn't that type of guy, so...
That's so rough.
Anyways, he was wearing the following, right? Faded blue jeans, a blue jacket with a hood, hiking boots with snow shields, and a white turtleneck sweater with some designs on it, or whatever. And he also had the camera and camping stuff on his person, right? Because he's taking pictures, and then he also brought a mess kit and a bit of food and that kind of shit. Enough to survive a day or two in the outback. Well, he was last seen on January the 30th. That's 2 days before he was reported missing, one day after he left his buddy's house, at a resort that was nearby. Nearby that resort, a park ranger gave him a ride, or he gave a ride to someone matching his description, I should say, into that national park from the resort. So it looks like he at least got there. And then, so I was looking up the weather records, because I don't know much about Oregon, but I know it's northwest, right?
Probably pretty
and so
cold.
It's probably cold and snowy around January the 30th, and that's about what I got from this place. It is just weatherspark.com, so I could just be off my shit. But it looks like it was consistently below freezing that whole day, that whole week. And there was still snow falling, so you imagine it accumulated some. So there was snow on the ground. It was super fucking cold. So that was the last anybody heard of him. Even a year later, after multiple search parties and people on both foot and plane searched for this guy, they didn't have any luck until October of 1976. So that's a year and 10 months or so. And on October 19th, some hikers stumbled upon the blue jeans, the blue jacket with the hood, the hiking boots, and the turtleneck next to some camping gear, some keys that he was known to have on him, just for a van or some shit.
Right.
A human skull, a lower jaw, and a few other bones kind of strewn about.
Jesus.
Now, that's a little weird. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, the fuck?
But this is the next bit is kind of what makes it a weird, what the hell kind of thing. Allegedly, and I couldn't really find too much proof on this. So as usual, the disclaimer, take it with a grain of salt here, people. But apparently his jeans were sitting upright with just his shin bones in them. His shin and his feet were still in the jeans and the boot. But the other shit was just kind of strewn around. So that's pretty damn weird.
Okay.
So, oh my god. You ever seen the Hills Have Eyes? Where
No, I haven't.
There's a scene in one of them where somebody gets hit in half by a log, and it makes me think that, oh my god, something fucking with big fucking force could have hit that dude enough where it fucking separated him in half. That's insane to me. That the fucking top half is just standing.
Oh, the bottom half.
Or rather,
not
the top. Sorry, the bottom
top half was what was kind of just strewn about the ground.
But it just makes me think, what the fuck?
I mean, I got a couple of theories on why maybe, and once again, this is a big maybe, but why his shit was sitting upright. It's if he froze to death while he was shivering, sitting upright.
Yeah,
something just could have come along and taken his top half away, right? It was below freezing. Things were probably brittle. You could probably get a pretty clean break.
Jesus.
Yeah, so if you're just a bear wandering around the woods and this guy's not moving for a couple of days, you're yeah, it's probably worth it. And you go and you knock on him a little and his top falls off his bottom and you're just okay. I guess that's a freebie. And then another little creepy thing to throw in there. In 2006, another dude's remains were found at the same spot.
Wait. So another person's remains were found at the same spot.
Was it the same condition?
Yeah, no, there was no mention of the shins just chilling in some jeans.
Yeah,
or whatever.
That would have been.
They were talking to each other.
But I don't know. I mean, like, it seems pretty odd that, like, 2 people would die in the exact same spot in the fucking wilderness. Like, it's not it's not like a fucking hospice, man. People don't just, like, gather there to die, but it is what it is. It could be coincidence.
Right.
But, you know, I'm sure it has to happen at some point. Why can't it happen here? But anyways, yeah, no, the shin thing really got to me while I was reading. Just, like...
Like, how the
That
fuck
sucks.
does that
No, how do what has to happen in order for your shins just to have to be there? Like, okay,
Well-
so let's think about this. A bear? No. Usually, I mean, if a bear is going to eat
They would
you,
drag the whole carcass, right?
no. Okay, so a bear
know how
will
bears
a
work.
bear will eat you in the place that they kill you. Okay, they will sit there and they will eat you, but you will have bones there because they're not going to eat your bones.
Not hungry for bones.
A bobcat, wildcat, anything of the sorts, will drag you back to their den before they eat you, which is still weird because it's.
I mean, that wouldn't have happened here because, like, the rest of his shit was still found
Yeah.
nearby.
Yeah, because like, how does a bobcat rip you in half? It's just what I want to know.
Well, I mean,
I
it
don't
was
really have a
freezing
good one.
temperatures.
Other than see, that's where my only theory comes
Okay,
from. Is
yeah.
like it was super fucking cold.
and therefore, like, maybe it was just so cold that they could easily break him in half. It's just a weird one.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
it has to be really fucking cold for that shit to happen too.
It really does.
What was did they give you the temperature?
No, I mean, I just looked on that website and it was like
Yeah.
below 30. It wasn't like 0. I think it was like 20 degrees was the high or some bullshit like that.
Oh, God. Ew.
So nothing too terrible.
Yeah. Damn. I mean, I kind of agree with Steven's theory is that it was so cold that maybe something had come along. I mean, shit, it could. I mean, wolves are very strong too, though. But I mean, I'm thinking if it would come to a pack, then they wouldn't just stop at the fucking
man, it's
bottom.
just-
They wouldn't stop at the top half,
You know,
right?
I'm not.
Well,
I'm not,
it didn't mention if there was any meat in the pants or not, right? So like,
Yeah. Oh my
I don't
I'm
know.
not- I'm
Like
not
some
here
some
to-
sick freak could have played Build-A-Bear a little bit and just like walked in like that.
Yeah.
He fixed the bottom half and then he realized like, ah shit,
We're
I'm missing
having
a couple
soft
of rib cages.
tacos.
We're having. Oh, fucking hate you.
You're going to hell for that one. That's where you go.
God.
Fucking terrible.
But yeah, and then okay, so we'll go on to the next fella, which
Yeah,
this
since they were
one's
so
really
close.
weird to me, because this one seems like something that could like, very easily happen to like one of us or something, right?
Hate
Oh,
that.
great.
Immediately hate
I like that. Yeah.
So this
No,
happened in 2020, like
Like recent. Okay. It's
like 4
great.
years ago.
Great. All right.
This guy named Michael Bryson, and I'll try to be a little more respectful of this guy because his family's still like out and kicking and trying to figure out what happened to their son. So let's try to like keep
Yeah.
an air of
Respect.
somewhat seriousness here.
All right.
So this guy is of Eugene, Oregon. That same Eugene, Oregon I talked about a minute ago. And he was 27. He went to a party, about 40 to 60 people, allegedly, where they were drinking drugs and listening to music. It's like a rave kind of thing.
Sure.
And it wasn't too uncommon for this guy. Like, he was a DJ. Like, his passion was music. So he would get called out to, like, do events and shit like this. They'd be like, hey, come down to, in this case, it was called Hobo Campground. This dingy fucking place off the road. And we're going to, like, do some drugs and party in the mountains, right? Which is what we would do if we lived anywhere near mountains. And so on August the 4th, 2020, on the way to the campground, he stopped by his parents' house and told them where he was going. Kind of like the last guy, he kept communication. And, you know, if you're going to go do some shit in the mountains, it's always wise to tell people. So he had a good relationship with them, and he was solid about keeping them in the loop. Well, he was last seen that next day, on August the 5th, 2020, about 4:30 a.m., and has never been seen since. Michael's parents were alerted to their son's disappearance 5 p.m. the next day. That'd be August 6th. They got to the location. The sheriff's office was already there. And the rescue was already pretty much going. It was land and water because there was like a little creek and a river nearby. And then just some ways he could have floated off. But as to what happened to him, there's a couple of conflicting stories. So we got that 4:30 in the morning time. And so what one group says is, one group of partiers, is he got up, they were like in a van. Nobody said what they were doing. And he left the van because he got upset about something and just started like walking into the woods. Okay. And then another group of people who were not in the van said they saw him get picked up in a different van down the road a little way and just like leave. Like his boys came and picked him up or something, right? Shit. Like, fuck it, that dude's leaving. So hundreds of volunteers searched for over 700 total hours, over 15 separate organized searches in 2 counties. According to Detective Richard Smith with the Lane County Sheriff's Office, that's the local sheriff's office, Michael wandered away in an unknown direction and left his camping gear behind. His phone was shut off. He hasn't touched his bank account since, and there didn't seem to be any signs of foul play. Although he did mention that they're open to the possibility. There's just no evidence to point to that.
So I want to point out, but between all of these missing 411 cases, there's something very predominant throughout most of them, and it's the amount of people that will go and search for these people. The amount of people that go out, and not only all of them have to be like, police department, army.
Oh yeah, you could just volunteer to do that.
Yeah, but it's crazy to me how many people go out and look and they don't find anything. Like,
I feel like if you're like in that kind of situation, though, you can really empathize, right? Like, say someone you knew from like a family that lived down the street went missing. Of course, you'd like take a fucking afternoon off work and go looking. Well, you would hope, right?
Yeah,
that's the better thing to do.
Well, and it's just crazy to me that the amount of people that go looking for these people and they just can't find anything.
Yep, and that's kind of what happened here.
This is fucking terrifying.
So this dude, he didn't just like up and leave because he was like pissed. He had like plans. Like he wanted to go to electrician school and get out of the fucking music life and like,
oh man,
fucking make something of himself. Okay, so like 4 months after the disappearance in December, this is just like a little thing. Parents got a call, and they got called all the time by people like over the next months. The dad was saying he would go out in his pickup truck after he'd get phone calls and like go search over like pile of bones that belonged to like deer or roadkill or whatever. And he would just like, whenever he got a call, he'd just like get up and go look for him. For months and months, and there's still like a Facebook page and everything. I'll link you to the chat here in a second, but it's just absurd. This guy just like got up and walked into nowhere. Nobody could like had any story of what happened to him after he walked away. But the 4 months later, a call was placed to the parents because somebody saw something about a mile west of that camp he was staying at, and it was a couple of things that Michael was reportedly wearing, but nothing more. So the same kind of t-shirt bullshit or whatever.
Right.
The parents were pretty skeptical of this because, like, I mean, that was reported on the news. So, like, anybody could have just, like, been a total fucking...
They're like, yeah, I saw this because it's public information.
Yeah, well, no. Like, they like, actually put, like, there were items there. Like, the shit he was allegedly wearing were, like, on the ground.
So they could just...
I don't know. I think that's just, like, somebody being an asswipe. But if it's not somebody being an asswipe, that's super fucking weird.
Oh, yeah. God. Oh, my God.
Yeah, but his parents, Michael Bryson's parents, were convinced fucking someone murdered their son. And, no way to fucking prove it.
Yeah, oh, man.
Yeah, that's fucking horrifying.
Yeah, that's just crazy that... Yeah, I mean, you could throw out there, let's say, like...
Facebook page.
Let's say, like, hey, somebody did go out and kill their son. There's nothing. There's no...
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're ever going to have closure. I mean, that was 4 years ago now, and this Facebook page is, like, still somewhat active. Like, the latest post was 5 hours ago, and it is February the 3rd of 2024.
Holy shit.
That's fucking nuts.
Oh, man, that sucks. No. I could never. I would...
It's just such a fucking a human thing, though, right? Like, he was just, like, going out and, like, partying on the outskirts of civilization where you won't get in trouble. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like, I've gone out into the country and
Right.
had a few and chilled with the boys. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, it's not nothing that we've all done. I've been out to friends' houses, popped fireworks out the outside of the city limits, had a couple drinks, driven back home, stuff like that. It's just-
and this guy was just like a guy with like life plans, and I don't know. I'm very empathetic towards this case because it just seems like, I don't know whether he just like maybe had a bad drug or walked into the wilderness, or
what's really crazy
maybe
is
even just had enough of that party and thought he may walk home and just like took a wrong turn somewhere and was never seen again. It's just terrifying. Jesus.
What's crazy about your case is the one that I know that Matthew's about to talk about actually has some similar ties into this. Matthew, if you would you tell me about that one too? Because I know it's very similar.
Swanson. So this one, same thing. This, in my opinion, could happen to just about anybody, which is to me fucking horrifying. So basically, this dude, he finishes up high school and he's partying with some of his buddies, and he drinks a little bit, but not too much to get him intoxicated. Drives his car, and then drives it into a ditch after celebrating. And he gets on the phone because he's uninjured, and he gets on the phone, talks to his parents, is like, "Hey, can you guys come pick me up?" He didn't know exactly where he was, but he was somewhere in the area of the woods. So he said it was near a place called Lind.
What was he doing? I'm sorry.
He was partying with his buddies
gotcha.
after he was graduating high school.
Yeah, I guess they were celebrating graduating high school.
Yeah.
And, not to like steal it here, but I do want to say he decided that instead of taking the main roads back to his house, that he would take the back roads back to his house because he knew he had a couple drinks, but he knew he didn't have enough to be intoxicated, and that was
he didn't want that DWI, baby. I get it.
No, yeah, he didn't want to. Well, and that was a big thing that's brought up later by like some of his friends were all like, hey, he was he was responsible about what he was doing. He had a couple drinks and then he stopped drinking, like I'm pretty sure like an hour before that he left, and so he gave himself time, and he decided that he was gonna take the back roads back home.
Oh yeah, they just said the same thing. Whenever they had reports later on after what I'm about to talk about, the friends were like, "Yeah, hey, he didn't drink enough to get intoxicated. He just had maybe a couple, and he was fine." Same thing with his parents saying he didn't sound like he was, he was intoxicated on the phone or in any kind of state of disarray. So he called his parents and was like, "Hey, can you guys come and pick me up?" So he said he was around near this location, and they went and drove over to pick him up, but they weren't able to locate him. They remained on the phone with him until after about 47 minutes, he exclaimed, "Oh shit," over the phone, and the phone line went dead. And he has not been found or heard from or seen since that day.
Holy fuck.
How would you like to be on the phone with your son? He just graduated high school. You knew he was probably going to go out and do something, whatever. And
I mean, he didn't fucking wreck his car and be like, "Oh shit, we're going to help out our kid," right?
Yeah,
He's stranded.
because okay, so this case is actually a pretty well-known case if you ever frequent the spooky or the unexplained. Because this case gets brought up a lot. But I do know that, like, he was telling his parents, hey, come this way, hey, come this way, this and that, and they just could never find him. They were going down every back road they thought that he was on, trying to find him on the phone because it was the dad and the mom driving.
Yeah. I have a story like that where, like, my cousin, he got his truck stuck in the mud. And dude, he had no idea how the fuck to describe his location. And it wasn't even that far out of town. But like, because he was getting just like some of the details wrong, I was barking up the wrong tree for the better part of an hour. And it was nobody's fault. He just like was inaccurately describing a little bit. And so I
was
looking at the right place and I wasn't. It was very odd. Anyways, sorry, that just
And what's crazy is we can like a little relate to this because of there being a lot of farm roads near where we live. There's a lot of farmers, there's a lot of dirt roads and stuff, and when I remember right, he was driving like some sedan. And just like accidentally drove off the road into a ditch and got high centered or something and stuck to where he couldn't move. You know, and it's not anything that I wouldn't hear, you know, or any of us would hear, you know, that it's just kind of like, oh no, you know, Bobby Joe down the street, he accidentally, you know, he went down one of the farm to market roads and it turned
it was a
into
Chevy Lumina. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, Illumina. Yeah, it's a little. I think those are about the same size of a Chevy Cavalier, which they're not very big cars either.
Easily stuck in the mud or in the ditch, you know?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You're driving late at night, you know. Let's say something jumps out in front of you. It rained the night before, so the road's a little slick, and you run off the road or something. And, you know, they just couldn't find this guy.
So did they find his car?
So they did find his car. They in the morning, whenever all of this went down, the police of course the police got involved, and you know they found his car. There wasn't much going on with it aside from it still being stuck, and that you know it wasn't too much saying that he wasn't hurt. The police were telling the parents, hey, maybe he either he wandered off, or you know this is something pretty common that these people do, that these kids that are you know little young high school kids, you know sometimes they'll just want to go off and do their own thing for a little bit, right? Well, that's what they had told them for a little while until a few days pass and a little bit longer. And so that they start to have a search going on with some people who are volunteers and police officers and hounds to try and pick up a scent for this kid. So whenever they were starting one of these searches, they thought that maybe he had fallen and drowned inside of what was the name of the river? I think it was the Yellow Medicine River. Yellow Medicine River. It was around where the car was found. And they thought that was it. That he maybe stumbled over. Maybe he was a little bit more drunk than people thought he was, and he drowned. However, the dogs, whenever they were checking for his scent, they went to the river, and then they went past the river and kept going down the trail. Which is it's a theory, which is what makes me think, in agreement to what the mom thinks, is that he did not drown, and that it was that it had to be something else that had happened. But you know, I could be wrong. It could be that he did just end up, but there was no body recovered either, which is also odd.
Oh, this one's fucking me up, man. Oh my goodness, I'm getting the chills. Honestly, I've never heard of this. This is terrifying.
You've never heard? Oh wow.
No, this is.
So I'll describe it as, so it says, while the trail followed by one of the dogs went to the Yellow Medicine River, and despite her son's last known words, saying, oh shit, and then, you know, fucking the line going dead, the mother, Annette Swanson, didn't know that he drowned, and after following the scent to the water, the dogs had continued up across to the other side and along that riverbank to another gravel road, where it continued north towards Yellow Medicine County line and then ended. And Brian Swanson, the father, also recalled that any alcohol his son had consumed earlier in the evening was notwithstanding. Yeah, it didn't. Because he didn't seem disoriented or confused or anything during when they talked on the phone for like 40 minutes. If he was still alive, there are other possibilities, although they appear remote, and he could have intentionally disappeared, which is I don't really buy. I don't understand what the perks of that would be. But his parents don't believe that. Yeah, I don't either. They could not rule out foul play, even though there was no evidence of it. And saying, Jesus, his name is Vizek. I hope I said that right. yeah, his name was. I'll just call him Jack because he was one of the officers involved. Jack had said he couldn't rule out foul play, even though there's no evidence of it, and saying, and quoting, "Someone could have been in the shadows, and they got him that way," and speculating that he got kidnapped. Which is also not great, but better than just fucking unexplained disappearance.
He was in the middle of fucking nowhere. Who's gonna just
Yeah, like who the fuck
choose that opportunity to kidnap somebody?
It's just it seems very rub your hands clean of it type thing of like, oh, he drowned, or oh shit, he probably got kidnapped, or he wandered. That kind of shit happens.
Like the thing is, if he drowns in a lake, don't they like dredge the lake or send divers down and check that shit? Wouldn't they have found something?
I do not know. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just.
And there's later searches as well.
That's absurd.
After the original search with no signs of the body, most likely assuming the body, or just Swanson in general, most of the efforts were discontinued. But the sheriff continued to walk for 2 miles of the Yellow Medicine River, that area, every day for 30 days afterwards. And the Swansons left their porch light on all night as a symbol of their hope that Brandon would eventually return and be found, and still do. By the way, this happened in 2008, and it's still ongoing. And searches kept resuming later that fall, and then in 2010, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension took over as lead agency on the case, and they set up a tip line. 90 leads have been reported, but they have yet to find anything.
Yeah, I from what I understand, a lot of these things get like leads that lead fucking nowhere, or just like people calling in for
or just being
that aren't
dickheads,
necessarily like the kindest or whatever.
Oh yeah,
but
fucking terrible.
I got a weird one for you, fellas. Not necessarily related to this specifically, but it reminded me of it. And it's this very deep fear I have, especially just like having a wife and a kid, and like it's that urge to protect and like always kind of have the upper hand. You know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you mean.
But anyway, so my buddy told me these stories growing up, and they've been corroborated by multiple sources multiple times. But I don't know if it's a local legend or if somebody heard about it online or started telling it like they knew it, but it doesn't matter where it came from. In this instance, it took place on a local road, but it could take place on any road. And all it was a truck parked on the side of the road with their flashers on. And a couple of people standing outside it. And the inclination of empathetic human beings is, hey, maybe I should pull over and help them, right? Maybe they're having some trouble. But for whatever reason, instead of doing that, people get a gut feeling. And the way my buddy told this story so long ago is he was driving with his mom on this road. He's in the passenger seat. They saw this white pickup truck off the side of the road with his hazards on. And his mom, who reportedly, both before and after, just like unrelated to this story, has no gut feeling. Like she just doesn't have that intuition that most of us have.
She was just like, pull over.
You just pull over to help. But for whatever reason, my buddy, his intuition said no. So much so he started screaming at her because she was just going to pull over and help. And he said as they continued to drive past, there was just something wrong with those people. They just didn't seem right. Their eyes weren't quite there. The body language was off. And I think about that shit a lot. To the point I like tell my wife, hey, if you're just out with our son, fuck a stranger, bro.
And of course, my wife has a fear of going out on her own. Just in general, she has high anxiety about taking the kids out by herself, and so a lot of times she won't go out by herself.
Well, there's sometimes it's simply unavoidable, right? Like,
yeah, well, and it's even like, in some cases of like in like her high anxiety and stuff, I plan on getting her resources to protect herself better, And,
some of those Texan resources, huh?
Yeah, y'all know what I mean by Texan resources about means to protect herself, and she does want one, but I mean, it's just I have come to the conclusion that sure, let's you could throw out Bigfoot, you could throw out aliens. I think the scariest thing on the face of the earth is people with intention.
Yeah.
Is human beings with intention have to be some of the scariest form of anything on earth.
Oh, yeah. I think it's worse when it's hard to imagine the intention, right? Like, I don't see any good reason to just kidnap a stranger, but there's probably people who do. You know?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fucked.
But I do want to bring this up real quick while we're talking about missing people in forest or in different locations. Okay, so one of the things that I read is if you're ever missing out in a forest, and let's think about this. If you're ever missing out in a forest, don't keep walking.
Oh, yeah.
No,
stay put. It's like getting fucked
put.
up in the snow. Just fucking don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sit down, stay put. The easiest way to find you is if you're in the same place. If you keep moving, you're either going to go in the wrong direction, or you're going to end up exhausting yourself more to where you can't survive long enough. So let's say any of our subscribers, any of our followers, y'all ever go out to a national park and you find yourself lost off a trail and stuff, plant your ass down in the ground. Find a good open spot, and I mean, unless there's like...
Fucking wait. It's also worth mentioning, always take GPS, not one that's on your phone, but like a dedicated device.
Yep, that's
and also
good.
a whistle, because yelling works, but your vocal cords are going to give out far before anybody finds you. So, a whistle just takes air.
Food, whistle, map, GPS, I mean, even shit. Bring a fucking compass.
The most important thing you can bring is a friend.
Yep. Yeah. Try to stay as close as you can to one another, and even if you can't, even if you're going all alone, make sure you let everyone know your full intentions of what you're doing, so that way, if something does go wrong, they can notify people as quick as possible.
Oh yeah, don't just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this today," and like don't tell anybody, because that's.
Yeah, if you decide, hey, I'm gonna go out, and I mean, even if you put down in our comment section, hey, I'm going out to this and this,
somebody could know that maybe you have a YouTube channel or some bullshit. Like I don't know, anything is better than nothing. Obviously, like tell your parents or your best
tell
buddies or
anyone
whatever's
close.
most applicable, but
tell your boss. I mean, tell somebody. In these cases,
the boss is a good one because they'll know exactly when you're fucking missing.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Where the fuck are you? Here, come to work."
You didn't show up to work for 2 weeks. That's crazy.
Man, the amount of whenever I was doing my research for the 411 cases, and unfortunately I cannot name the specific ones, is children is another big one that comes into play.
Yeah,
there's one I remember passively, and it's a kid who was like, they were out hiking somewhere. And he just they looked away for 2 fucking seconds, and he was just gone. They found him in the middle of a fucking swamp, bone dry. He was hanging onto a tree stump, complaining about the cows were scaring him. There were no cows nearby. He was in a fucking swamp, and he was dry, he wasn't dirty from swamp water, and there was no way he could have gotten to where he was while remaining dry.
Fuck?
There was one. And unfortunately, I can't bring up the specific case, but they were Boy Scouts, and they were going out and doing Boy Scout stuff. And one of the scout leaders, they were out, and I believe they were fishing. It was a troop leader and a kid, and they were fishing out, and this kid had bright outfit on. I'm talking, he had this silver bright jacket on with red Nike pants on.
The shit you wear if you don't want to get lost in the wilderness.
Yeah, bright ass shit. Okay, so the kid was like, "Hey, I'm going back to camp real quick," and the scout leader was like, "All right, fine, it's not that far." So the kid took his fishing pole and went to go back to camp, and he was walking, and the scout leader turned around and watched him. And there was a split, or a fork in the path. Right went to the camp, left went the wrong way. And the kid started going to the left, and the camp leader had watched him. He was like, "Hey, turn around, go to the right." And the kid was like, "Oh, okay." And you turn around and went back to the right. And that was the last time anyone has ever seen him.
If I'm not mistaken with that case, like there's only like 5 to 10 meters of area where he wouldn't have been seen.
Yeah, and he because the kid was supposed to come back to the scout leader with stuff or whatever. I don't know what he was supposed to bring back, but he was supposed to come back. And time went by.
Like fucking 5 minutes later, he's like, "Where's this kid?"
Yeah, he's like,
It was a very short period of time. Like relative to these guys who are like, and 12 hours later, they're like, "We might call the cops." Like,
yeah, no, this was like within a short period. So the scout leader went up to the camping area, and there was a bunch of people there, and they were like, "Hey, have you seen this kid?" And they were like, "No, we haven't seen him at all." And so of course, he goes up to the other scout leaders and is like, "Hey, this kid's fucking missing." And of course, the scout leader decides that he tells one scout leader, and the other scout leader decides to tell all the kids, "We're going to look for this kid, and if we don't find him by morning, he's dead."
Oh my god!
Which is
no, I would like to mention as a Boy Scout myself, that's pretty much the sense of humor. Like I have said that regarding someone who got lost on a trail before. I'm like,
oh
well,
my
if we can't
god,
find him, he's fucking dead.
Jesus. So I'm guessing it's said in jest, right?
No, yeah.
Okay,
I don't think he was like.
Okay,
just, like,
that's actually kind of
malicious
crazy
about
to
it,
hear.
Don't worry.
But so of course, the kids go out, and some of the scout leaders went out, but they didn't really think anything of like importance.
Yeah, how could
like,
this kid get fucking lost? He's
they're like
wearing bright shit. Just like
they're
look
like-
around for him for a minute. Jesus.
They're like, "Oh well, we'll find him." And like 6 hours went by, and they're like, "Okay, fuck, we should probably go out and find this kid." And
No, that's the best part of Boy Scouts, man. That shit's laissez-faire. Fucking hands off. Like, let kids be kids in the fucking woods.
Yeah, no,
And,
they,
like, it taught me a lot of shit growing up, and I really respected it. But at the same time, people just like disappear sometimes. She's like, Jesus.
yeah, they never found that kid. Right out.
Yep.
Well, the craziest thing about the case is usually, okay, let's say you're gonna run from, because they always thought, hey, an animal went after him or something. They never found the fishing pole, so that means,
He
either
got his fishing pole.
either if he was kidnapped or if he was taken by animals or something. Usually, your first thing would be to drop your fishing pole and run. They never found it, so whoever or whatever happened caused him and his fishing pole to go missing, which is kind of crazy because usually you'll find some remnants of something, but they found nothing.
So I got some big ideas for you fellers, if you want to kind of hear them.
Okay.
Sure.
So, we live in a time and a space where everything is kind of what it seems, right? Like, this is going to get significantly, like, less serious than talking about, like, missing people with names. So,
I'm here for it.
it's kind of a cool off from the series, right? But I have no idea where I heard it, man. It was on some podcast. I could have sworn it was like the Babylon Bee dude, the guy who made that website. Just like talking about conspiracy theories or something. But I can't. God, I wish I could find it again. I haven't been able to. But for whatever reason, this guy was convinced that, like, for some reason that we don't understand, the U.S. and the Nazis spiked a deal. The Nazis would lose that war, and in return, they had access to, like, kidnap a number of people from our parks, just like throughout the future, ensuring that they were able to, like, keep their time travel technology to, like, themselves, right? So they lost the war from our perspective, but they just got to, like, bounce to the moon or go to the future or something. And occasionally, maybe they just, like, needed more kind of pure Aryan blood, or where they were going, there was, like, a risk of inbreeding, or for some reason, they needed people. And I don't know how true it is, but I've heard it from multiple sources, and these are YouTube sources, so it could just be total bullshit.
They're great sources.
But a lot of the missing 411 people are of predominantly German descent.
No way.
And I don't even know how you would fucking like Google to prove that, because I've tried just out of curiosity and I haven't gotten anywhere. So this is in the realm of Steven talking bullshit.
That's
Crazy.
batshit just crazy off the wall. I like it.
Continue to ground ourselves here. But that's why like nobody takes it seriously when you think people should, right?
Because for whatever reason, whether it be the people on top or just like for some reason we don't get,
a deal was made, and so we can't really put up too much of a fuss when the occasional person just gets zooped off the earth.
I figured it out. It was Nazi Bigfoot people.
Yeah, that is it.
That is
what was that guy's name? He was halfway there.
Dave Pilates.
Pilates.
Yeah,
He was fucking halfway on it, man. I put the puzzle together. We solved it, actually.
Which is crazy is he wrote books on Bigfoot and stuff. So I mean, he was getting there.
But then on the flip side of the coin, like with the kid wearing the bright clothes and getting his fishing pole, like that brings me almost into like the Twilight Zone. Like maybe there's just like a realm like set on top of ours that we don't really get to play with, but they can play with us,
Yeah, it just
and sometimes shit just happens. Or maybe, like, for whatever reason, space was wrong. Maybe the rules were different in a certain spot where he laid his foot that no one else did for a certain time that maybe didn't exist anymore afterwards. And he just walked through some type of doorway and just never came back.
That's crazy to think, too. I mean,
it's
it's all up to speculation at that point, so...
Yeah, I mean, the past fucking 15 minutes has been just, like, pure speculative bullshit. None of
this
is
shit at the wall.
But...
None of it's sticking, but
I think it's worth thinking about it right now. The fact that like maybe these aren't the rules.
So there's also another theory of why these people go missing, and it's feral people in the woods, like just people that we don't know that live inside the woods, that are just human beings that are just completely off the grid, batshit off the wall,
more like our ancestors than us. Like the crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're the first
driven by instinct, no reason, just yeah. I think about that too sometimes. Like there was a family that the Soviet.
I'm gonna interrupt you just real quick. I have to go to the bathroom.
All right, we'll take a brief pause. I'll keep talking. He can go pee. So there's this family. I'm gonna take a moment to Google it.
Okay. It wasn't my boy, the cannibal
family, pretty
right?
well documented. Fucking the Lykov family, that's what it is. Okay. Of old believers, and that's like old Orthodox Eastern religion Christians who like, I don't know, we're all about being in the 1600s, but only in modern time kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
They spent 42 years just away from human society.
What the
in
fuck?
Southern Siberia.
I've heard of this.
In 2019, dude, they explained how like locals were like talking to him just like every now and then. And even dating back to the 50s, there's like a fucking thing about it. But they didn't know like they didn't really know much about the Soviet Union. They didn't know what a fucking TV was. Like they just weren't a part of this world, yet they in their own right, or as equal as you or me in terms of like being a human, they just didn't participate.
Dude, that's nuts.
In the same way we know how, and that's just insane to me. Okay, so it looks like in '78 their location was discovered by a helicopter pilot. So imagine you're like flying a helicopter and you like stumble upon people who were like living in a different time. Right? Like we just like met some prairie people who like didn't know what a fucking motor was. Like they never heard of gasoline ever,
What was those islands in Indonesia?
You're thinking of the Sentinel Islands.
Yeah, the Sentinel Islands
off the coast of India, where the only contact they have is like when they threw a bunch of fucking spears in the plane.
Yeah. And killed a few people like on missionary trips and stuff.
Have I talked about that on the podcast? The Sentinel Island?
I don't know. Most relieving thing I've ever done. Oh my god.
I'm very happy for you. We talked about the Lykov family, the Russians who like were just away from people for like half a century.
Oh, that's
I
crazy.
didn't know what a fucking TV was. It doesn't matter too much.
I bring.
But
up
I'll say it
Russians and
again,
stuff.
man. The Sentinel Island people don't know India's a fucking thing. They don't know what there are fucking boats out there that patrol the waters to make sure people don't contact them. They have no concept of that. They think every now and then a metal bird flies across the sky, and that's what it is.
Hey, well,
What if
I mean,
there's an
multiple-
India with boats around Earth, and we're just like left alone to fucking do our own thing for reasons outside of our understanding? Like, I don't know. I think I've already gone off on this once, but
No, it could be. We could just be living here and, as a game.
it's just, what is it, the prison Earth theory or some bullshit? Like,
Yeah, sounds about
We
right.
are the Australia of the alien
we were
world.
so kick-ass in space as, like, space people that they're like, nah, man, send them back to the Stone Age. And then they took away all our super nuclear fucking spaceship fuel and made us, like, figure it out without it.
I'm here for it. And then we figured it out again. Time to repeat the process.
I think if I was stuck in the Siberian wilderness for 40 years with only my family, I think we'd all be dead in a week.
Yeah, no,
Same.
probably just-
Hate to say it. Sorry, babe, but that's what it is.
It's just, it ain't lasting. Well, I mean, we got a good wrap up. We got anything from Bigfoot to, just people just going missing in forest. Or randomly in the middle of nowhere after you decide to park your car, you accidentally slide off the road and park your car somewhere, and
Slide off the face of the fucking earth.
yeah, for
That's
some reason,
insane.
it,
Disappearing within
I-
like 10 fucking. Oh my god.
But
So-
on the other hand, we did solve why these people went missing, and it's Nazi Bigfoots. And so that's good enough for me. I think we should just close the cases.
Case closed.
True.
No,
Everybody
but
go home. We're
to-
good.
to all those families out there that are out there looking for their kids, we're not taking one of it, but hey, Nazi Bigfoots.
It's a Nazi Bigfoot, and I do sincerely hope that these people can actually be found one day.
Same here.
All right, well, I'll catch you all later. That's pretty depressing. Bye.
Yeah. Anyways, y'all have a good night. Wait, hold on. We got to give shout outs to the
we
newest
do, we
commenters. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick because we got some new people and everybody else that's coming to join. Thank you. I do want everyone to know as well that the podcast is also found on Spotify under Matthew. What is it? V2?
Vidith 22.
Yep.
Is it V2?
Yeah, it's
No,
the.
it's all under Vidith 22 from what I saw.
Yeah. So if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you can go to Spotify and Audio Boom.
Yeah, it's the V22 podcast. No, it's Audio Boom is what distributes it.
Oh, okay. But anyways, so we got
That's like saying like you can buy chips from Frito-Lay. Like I guess you probably could, but that's not their job.
they're also late.
Uh,
But anyway, so we got Haley Clark. She came in from she's one of Edith's subscribers. She came over and was liking it. She also liked the ending of the last video where Matthew decided that not to tell one of her friends that it was his birthday dinner and he had already showed up to dinner. So we had to shut the podcast off early. That was why everything was a mayhem at the end.
oh my goodness, gravy. Yeah, let's just throw him under the bus for that one.
No,
really
no.
batting 1,000 over here. Jeez.
We also got Winged Horse, which has been a longtime fan of both me, Sarah, and Vidith, and just she's been around
Just a
since
cool
day
person.
one. Oh yeah, she's been around for a while.
I thought Wings and I were a little bit of homies, but it has been a while. We'll let it
It's
rest.
been a
We'll
minute.
let it simmer.
One of these days we'll get back on the streaming thing again, but and we got
If they ever
DJ.
make Counter-Strike good.
Well, I mean, supposedly there's a big update supposed to be coming out for Counter-Strike here soon, but
Big
we'll see.
money.
But we got DJ Uno Who 267 with another banger. I hope you like this one. This one's wild, and I hope you like the cases. And
The guy got the me profile picture. That's a winner. right
yeah,
there.
no, and we got Steven Hotswap with the Steven. Oh wait, wait a minute,
Steven.
Steven.
Hello.
Hello, shout out to
Get some of
Steven.
that ranch style beans, baby. I
And,
will catch you all later.
Shout out to Weekly for his audio edits, and I know he's in there somewhere and he's listening to me.
You better listen to me.
Anyways.
Wing said you shouldn't get paid, so make a case for it, I guess.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you take that up with Winged. Anyways, Matthew. I think this has been the Barking Boys podcast.
This has been the
Sure
Barkin
has.
Boys podcast.
Y'all have a good night, good morning, and good evening.
Deuces.
Bye.